This is Texas. This is not.
There are many more than two biological sexes. In fact, there are 6.
This is Texas. This is not.
The American flag is such a complicated symbol for most of us.
This is Texas. This is not.
They're going to call me a radical leftist.
This is Texas. This is not.
Something that you love that's not family or friends.
I love, I'm just saying this because it's on my mind, the trans children.
This is Texas. This is not.
Our southern border should be like our front porch. There should be a giant welcome mat out front.
This is Texas. This is not.
It is now existential that we try to reduce our meat consumption. I am proud to say that our campaign has officially become a non-meat campaign.
This is Texas. This is not.
Low T, too low T. I love it. Gang, people are saying that all Ken Paxton has to do is just play that ad 24/7 in a loop, and he'll win the Texas Senate seat in a massive landslide. I mean, obviously, James Tallarico is not the moderate Democrat that his allies and the legacy media are trying to portray him as. He's a very far left candidate running in Texas, and on the core issues that will define November: border security, immigration, trade, America first, economic policy. I mean, the contrast between Paxton and Tallarico just simply could not possibly be more stark. And in a post-Trump realignment, where both working class voters and Latinos have moved dramatically toward the Republican column, that contrast works overwhelmingly in the Republicans' favor, to put it mildly. Seriously, I mean, Tallarico, I would argue, is really the last candidate that the Democrats should have put up here in the midst of this political realignment. That's because, you know, one of the fundamental reasons why the working class abandoned the Democrats, one of the fundamental reasons why we have this realignment, was because it was the reaction to the Democrats' literal lunatic obsession with wokeness and identity politics issues. We saw it beginning with Hillary back in 2016. So when voters would go to Clinton's website, they would find tabs on her homepage that you could click on for women's issues or African-American issues, LGBT issues, environmental issues, but not a single tab for working class Americans. Not a single tab for working class issues, not one. But when you went to Trump's campaign website, the whole thing revolved around working class issues. So one of the Democrats' historically most reliable constituents, labor, which was fully Democrat ever since the New Deal, they abandoned them. They abandoned them in droves because of this obsession with woke identity politics. And keep in mind, a lot of those videos that you're watching there, those video clips from Tallarico, are right around that 2020, 2021, 2022 era where wokeness just went insane. And he wanted to put himself right at the forefront of that. Now it's coming back to bite him big time. You know, you are simply not going to find a more obsessively woke candidate than James Tallarico. Here's Mark Halperin on Tallarico's chances in Texas.
Is not the ideal person to win over Texas moderates. Why is that? Because he's got so many past statements on social and cultural issues, economic issues that are just, they're not going to appeal to moderates in Texas. They're just not. So we know that Tallarico is not ideal, right? What we also know, again, working against Tallarico, is that MAGA media and digital media and the political infrastructure, both Texas and nationally, they know how to do this. They know how to do what we call in Texas football student body right. And you've already seen since the primary on Tuesday, from Governor Greg Abbott on down, and Governor Abbott's got a big campaign kitty that he can spend on this race. They're already, in a very unified, message disciplined way, saying Tallarico's not Texas. He's too liberal for Texas. And that's a problem. That is a problem.
That's a problem. Yeah, I would say that. That's talking about an understatement, right? That's a problem. Houston, we've got a problem. In fact, Halperin's arguing that things are so bad. Don't be surprised if Tallarico is forced to drop out this summer. He won't even make it to November. We'll see. But Add to the fact that no Democrat has won a statewide race in Texas in over 30 years. I mean, the idea that Tallarico, who holds radical positions, as you just saw, on gender and borders and cultural policy, the idea that he's the one that's going to shatter that barrier in a Trump realigned Texas, a Trump plus 14 state, is a fantasy that Democrat strategists are selling to their donors just to raise money or to mess around with the betting markets or whatever. It ain't gonna happen. And it ain't just Texas either. In Maine, in their Senate race, where Republican Susan Collins is running to keep her seat, there's literally a new bombshell being dropped every day that's embarrassing the ultra woke Democrat Graham Plattner. Plattner is emphatically not the candidate that the Democrat establishment wanted. They wanted Maine's governor to go against Susan Collins, and for good reason. He is an absolute catastrophe for his party. The man has a literal Nazi tattoo on his chest. What is it called? Is it the Totenkopf? He literally has a Nazi tattoo on his chest, and his explanation was he didn't know what it meant. He didn't know what it was when he got it. He said he was too drunk to remember. And then we've got unearthed Reddit posts that are so freaking depraved. I'm not even going to read them on this program. And word on the street is that that's just the tip of the iceberg with this guy. And so now top Democrats, including Senator John Fetterman, former Biden White House officials, a number of Democrats are openly disavowing him and warning that his rise is exposing a full-blown civil war between the moderate wing of the Democrat Party, what's left of it, I guess, or maybe we call it the establishment wing, versus the sort of radical Marxist woke wing of the Democrat Party. And this is the state of the opposition. This is the Democrat Party. This is the best they've got to try to take on the Republicans. This is what the Democrats are bringing to November. And in the meantime, Trump again continues to redefine politics in ways that no president has done in modern political history. He's continued to push red states Republicans to redistrict for November. And here are the totals thus far that we have. I believe we're still waiting on South Carolina. They got to get their dung together, or else we need to get rid of those state Senate Republicans the same way we did with the Indiana state Senate Republicans. But here's what we got so far. And here's the I'm going to show you a pattern you want to hold on to here in the weeks ahead. So Crystal Ball has Republicans with 211 safe or leaning seats, and the Democrats with 208 with 16 toss-ups. Cook Political Report has Republicans with 210 relatively safe seats, Democrats with 207 relatively safe seats, and 18 toss-ups. And then Inside Elections has Republicans with 215 safe seats and Democrats with 206 safe or leaning seats with 14 toss-ups. Now, so you can look through all of that and you see Republicans are either at 211, 210, or 215. So they're between, we would say 210 and 215, maybe put a two, we'll average it out, right? 213-ish. But notice in every projection, in every forecast from Crystal Ball, Cook Political, and Inside Elections, notice who's in the lead. In every one of them, it's the Republicans. Now, if you want to understand how historic that is, right, you can contrast where we are right now to where we were at this same time back in 2018 when the Democrats would go on to win 40 seats. So these are Cook's numbers. Back in 2018, the Democrats were projected this time really to blow out the Republicans by this time, with 210 seats to the Republicans at just 195 with 30 toss-ups, which, by the way, the Democrats did not sweep. They lost several of those toss-ups in 2018. So that map has now flipped. In 2026, it's the Republicans projected to win 210 seats, with the Democrats down to 207. And that's the key to this structural analysis in the midterms. In every single projected model, the GOP is leading the Democrats. It really doesn't matter by how much. It's the very fact that they are leading that is so historically unprecedented for a midterm. Historically, the party in power, right? If you guys are regular to this channel, you know the stat. Historically, the party in power loses 30 to 40 seats in the midterms. There have only been 3 exceptions to that rule: 1934, 1998, and 2002. If ever there were signs of a 4th exception, it's 2026. And so this is why redistricting was so huge and why Trump has been forcing red states to get it done. And for those who failed, like the idiot Republican state senators in Indiana and possibly in South Carolina, so that's the Mike Pence wing and the Nikki Haley wing, the political retribution is fierce and it is swift. Just ask Cornyn and Cassidy and Massey. And what's so key to getting all of this is that such a retribution is not merely a political purge. It's a full-scale political realignment. It means that for the very first time since the Gingrich Revolution in 1994, the Republican Party is marching in lockstep. They're going into the midterms fully unified behind a single coherent agenda enforced by a president who's demonstrated that he will use every political weapon available to remove those who obstruct it. It means candidates up and down the ballot know exactly what's expected of them and what happens if they deviate. It means the MAGA base is absolutely energized, activated, and showing up at the polls, not just for presidential races, but for Senate primaries, state legislative primaries, and even state Supreme Court elections like we just saw in Georgia, where the Republicans had a full sweep. The Republican Party that emerges from this spring primary season is not the same Republican Party that existed even a year ago. It's been systematically remade, purged of its obstructionists, energized by its base, disciplined by its leader, and realigned with the working class voters who will determine the outcome of every competitive race in November. The establishment is indeed gone. MAGA is the party, and Donald J. Trump is just getting started.